They'll be performing the riddle.
We are all told at a young age, now, cheaters never win. And this statement still holds true in our older years. Unless, of course, you're the Miami Heat. Then you always win. In the riddle, taken from Grimm's Tales for Young and Old, translated by Ralph Manheim, we learn that when we cheat, we will get caught, and we will have to suffer the consequences. Once upon a time, there lived a noble prince who longed to travel. So one day, he finally decided to set off, taking with him only his faithful servant. Well, soon after they left, they realized that they had forgotten the map and that they were hopelessly, dreadfully, and tragically lost. By nightfall, they were still tragically lost. But the prince saw a cabin and a beautiful young woman. "Why, hello there, beautiful. Is it all right if my servant and I spend the night?" Well, I don't see why not, but I must warn you, my she's kind of a witch." "I'm not a witch, I'm your wife!" Mom! "Oh, I'm not a witch, I'm your mother!" "I think we can handle a little witch, don't you?" No, I don't think we can." Despite this, the prince still entered the hut. And lo and behold, there was the old woman, sitting at a cauldron of green, bubbling goo. "Why, hello, dearies. Would you like something to eat?" "Oh, you're creepy. Oh, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. Good night." The two were sure to sleep with one eye open. The next morning, they woke up bright and early, so as they wouldn't have to encounter the witch. However, the servant was taking quite some time saddling his horse, so the prince rode on ahead of him. Then out came the old, gnarled woman. "Why, hello, little servant. Would you mind giving this poison, I mean drink, to your master?" Well, okay." But the servant's hand was shaking so much that a single drop fell on the horse and it died instantly. The servant ran after the prince and told him what had happened. But despite his better judgment, he went back for the saddle. He really liked it. It was Italian leather. But when the servant got back, there was a raven sitting on the horse, eating it. "Oh, would you look at that? It's a cute little raven." "What? Don't look at me like that. Might be the only thing we get to eat today." The servant took the raven and the saddle and ran off after the prince. By nightfall, they came to an inn, and the servant gave the innkeeper the raven and told him to make a splendid raven stew out of it. The prince and the servant went up to their rooms, and as they were so tired, they fell asleep. And while they were sleeping, a gang of murderers, led by the witch herself, came creeping in. "Why, hello, Mr. Innkeeper. Give me and my gang something to eat, or I'll murder this entire village." "Well, you didn't have to go that far. I mean, these fellas upstairs told me to make this stew for them, but I see this as more of a worthy cause." The witch and the murderers took the stew and began to dine, and one by one they all died. "Well, I've never made something this terrible before. How bad can it be?" Then the innkeeper became collateral. The next morning, the prince and his servant woke up refreshed, and then they saw the dead bodies and the half-eaten cauldron of raven stew. "You don't think that this is our doing, do you?" Yes, I think it is." "Well, then, we should run away as quickly as possible." So they ran, and they came to a castle where there was a beautiful but arrogant princess. And it was known throughout the entire land that anyone who could give her a riddle that she could not answer, that she would marry them on the spot. But if she could answer the riddle, it was to the pit of despair, where they would be tortured for the rest of their natural lives. But luckily, the prince had a riddle that no one had ever heard of before. "One killed none, yet killed 12. What is it?" Well, that's so easy. It's give me a day to think about it. So the princess spent the entire day searching through all of her riddle books and consulting every single person in the castle, not getting a single answer. By nightfall, she was desperate. She came up with a dreadful plan. She decided that she would sneak into the prince's room and listen in on his dreams to see if he would give it away. "Princey Pooh, one killed none, yeah, killed 12. What is it?" Oh, well, it's a raven that ate a poisoned horse, and was then fed to a gang of murderers, a witch, and an innkeeper. Well, thank you for your time, Princey Pooh. Sweet dreams. Little did the princess know that the prince wasn't fully asleep, and that she had taken her handkerchief. The next morning, the whole kingdom assembled before the court to hear her answer. The answer to the riddle is a raven that ate a poisoned horse, then was fed to a gang of murderers, an innkeeper, and a witch. It was easy. I just want to build suspense. Ha! That's the correct answer, but you couldn't have possibly known that. And I have proof. This is your handkerchief. Oh. The court ruled that the princess would have to marry the prince, and after a few years of therapy, they lived happily ever after. Don't cheat your way through life, because not only will you get caught and have to suffer the consequences, but it's also not the moral thing to do.